5 Israeli hostages killed in Hamas captivity were recovered from an underground tunnel network in northern Gaza. 3 soldiers and 2 civilians were among 240 people taken hostages by terror group Hamas of October 7. Israel said the circumstances of the killing is being probed. Meanwhile, Israeli army on Sunday released footage showing what it said an operation to dismantle Hamas's northern underground headquarters in Gaza. The video showed a section of tunnel lined with white tiles as well as a similarly designed bathroom with a basic shower, toilet and sink, and a workroom with a corner table and bench. One tunnel had a drinking water dispenser and a pile of bullets.
The Israeli forces uncovered and dismantled a network of terrorist tunnels of Hamas in Gaza. This is a network that was the northern headquarters of Hamas in Gaza. In the headquarters, which is located dozens of meters underground, we found weapons, infrastructure for production of weapons, laboratories where weapons were produced.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israeli forces are going deeper into the Gaza Strip. Netanyahu, in a video statement on Sunday, said fight will continue until the total victory over Hamas, expressing grief over the rising toll of soldiers in the conflict. Netanyahu said Israel is paying a heavy price.
We are deepening the war in Gaza Strip. We will continue to fight until the total victory over. We will continue to fight until the total victory over Hamas. This is the only way to return our hostages, eliminate Hamas, and ensure that Gaza will no longer be a threat to Israel. The war has a price, a very heavy price in the lives of heroic warriors. And we are doing everything to safeguard the lives of our warriors. But one thing we'll not do, we'll not stop until we achieve victory.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has denied a report in the Wall Street Journal which said US President Joe Biden had stopped Israel from making a preemptive strike on Hamas ally Hezbollah in Lebanon. With more details about the report and some analysis on the US's relationship with Israel, here's our Washington correspondent Jagrati Dave.
Well, according to the Wall Street Journal, US President Joe Biden held a call with Benjamin Netanyahu on October the 11th. That is something that we know. But on that call, the Wall Street Journal is saying that the US president urged Mr. Netanyahu to stop a preemptive strike on Hezbollah, Hamas's ally, their forces, Hezbollah forces in Lebanon. It says, the report in the Wall Street Journal, that the US was disputing Israeli intelligence that suggested that Hezbollah forces were going to commit an attack across the border. And so, as a result of these reports, Benjamin Netanyahu said that that this is not true, that Israel is a sovereign state. He said, our decisions in the war are based on our operational considerations, and I will not elaborate on that. Netanyahu insisted on Sunday that Israel's actions are not dictated by external pressures. Now, this is interesting given the relations between the US and Israel. Historically, they've enjoyed very close ties. United States presidents and Israeli leaders have historically been close. And US President Joe Biden has also had close relations with Israeli leaders. So there is a sense that the US has influence over Israel. However, the United States is also aware of the public sentiment here in the US about the rising death toll in Gaza, and it has led the US to make equivocal criticism of Israel, saying that, veiled criticism, perhaps you could say, that Israel needs to take every possible precaution not to harm civilians. And there are also clearly differences between the United States and Israel over the long-term plan for Gaza. So all of these considerations are playing out as the war in the Middle East shows no signs of abating anytime soon. Jagrati Dave in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Moving on now, Turkey's Air Force conducted airstrikes in northern Iraq and Syria and destroyed 29 targets of the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party after 12 soldiers were killed in the past 2 days in northern Iraq. Defense Minister Yasser Guler said it has neutralized 30 PKK militants in northern Iraq so far. Guler was at the command center following the airstrikes overnight and addressed the pilots, congratulating them for a successful operation. Later on Sunday, He attended the funerals of the soldiers killed and visited the wounded who are being treated in hospital. Turkey regularly carries out airstrikes in neighboring Iraq as part of its offensive against PKK militants based there. And moving on now, Special Envoy of the UN Secretary General for Yemen, Hans Grundberg, announced a major breakthrough following a series of meetings in Riyadh and Muscat, which has been welcomed by Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry, stating that the ministry reiterates the kingdom's continued support for Yemen and its brotherly people and its constant keenness to encourage the Yemeni parties to sit at the dialogue table. The Saudi state news agency SPA reported on Sunday. The meetings resulted in a commitment by all parties to implement a series of measures aimed at establishing a nationwide ceasefire, improving living conditions, and resuming an inclusive political process under the support and guidance of the United Nations. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić urged a group of opposition leaders to stop the hunger strike a week after parliamentary election won by Serbia's ruling Serbian Progressive Party. The total of 5 prominent opposition leaders have been on hunger strike, including Miroslav Aleksić and Marinika Tepic, who started the strike on December 18. The opposition alleged major election law violations in Belgrade city parliament races, including voter registration fraud, bribery and result rigging, and demanded it be rerun.
I would like to ask that they all end their hunger strike since, honestly, elections were not called at the time because despite their lack of legitimacy, we had really won the elections and they had lost by a margin of 2-1. They didn't really care. And it is a significant difference if compared to the present situation. So let them return to their duties. They can organize protests every day.
Meanwhile, thousands gathered in the Serbian capital in an anti-government protest, which turned into clashes with riot police. Protesters hurled stones at Belgrade City Hall, demanding the annulment of parliamentary and local elections. Police fired pepper spray after a crowd tried to break in the Belgrade City Hall, where the local election commission is based. Some of the protesters climbed the building and broke windows. Earlier, International Monitoring Mission said the ruling party gained an unfair advantage in snap parliamentary elections through media bias, the improper influence of President Aleksandar Vučić, and voting irregularities such as vote buying. Bank of Japan would consider policy change if prospects of sustainably achieving the 2% target increase sufficiently and the likelihood of achieving the bank's inflation target was gradually rising, informed the Bank of Japan Governor Kazuo Ueda on Monday in a clear hint on the chance of ending ultra-easy monetary policy. Ueda was addressing the business lobby Keidanen. Ueda added that the bank had not decided on a specific timing due to uncertainties over the economic and market developments. With inflation exceeding the target for well over a year, it is expected by the bank to bring short-term interest rates out of negative territory next year, with some betting on higher rates as early as January. Thousands of migrants left the town of Tapachula in southern Mexico early with the hope of reaching the United States. Leading the caravan were migrants carrying a cross, a Mexican flag, and large banner that read "Poverty Exodus." The procession came just days before Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrives in Mexico City to hammer out new agreements to control the surge of migrants seeking entry into the United States. Migrants are heading through Mexico to the U.S. to escape violence, economic distress, and negative impacts of climate change. This month, as many as 10,000 migrants were arrested per day at the U.S. southwest border. Argentina's government has scheduled emergency sessions of parliament beginning this week to address a package of controversial reforms by President Javier Milei, who has ordered a broad deregulation of the economy. Milei himself issued the call late Friday for Congress to open an extraordinary session from December 26 through January 31st, following a week of protest against a reform contained in a presidential decree that needs an endorsement by legislators. The main focus is the libertarian Malay's Mecca decree that changes or scraps more than 350 economic regulations in a country that has grown accustomed to heavy government intervention in the market. Congress has 10 days to approve or reject the decree in its entirety, with no possibility of a line item veto. A number of civic groups on Saturday filed a judicial motion to have a mega decree declared unconstitutional, which could end up before the Supreme Court. To overturn the decree, majorities in both houses of Congress must vote it down. If lawmakers fail to take action, the decree comes into force on December 29. China is experiencing record-breaking winters since 1951, with temperatures going down to as low as sub-zero in major cities, including capital Beijing, which broke its previous record of 300 hours of sub-zero temperatures in December, dating back to 1951. The city has also endured 9 consecutive days of temperatures below -10 degrees Celsius. Also, temperatures in Henan province plunged to a new low of -15 degrees Celsius over the weekend, while Shanghai recorded its chilliest period in December in 4 decades last Thursday, with temperatures as low as -4 to -6 degrees Celsius. The unusually frigid weather, ushered in by a powerful wave of cold air from Siberia, has forced many northern provinces to rewrite December records as the mercury dipped to as low as -30 Celsius. And the weather in Hong Kong has also become more chilly, with residents battering a combination of cold temperatures and occasional showers. Residents have been advised to avoid staying on high ground and open areas for an extended period of time. The chilly weather forecast is expected to continue throughout the Christmas holidays, with temperatures gradually rising to about 17 degrees sometime around the middle of the next week. Christmas is being celebrated across the world with religious fervor and joy. Pope Francis kicked off global Christmas celebrations in St. Peter's Square, leading the world's Roman Catholics into Christmas. The pontiff, celebrating the 11th Christmas of his pontificate, delivered a solemn Christmas Eve Mass, calling for peace around the world. The Eve Mass saw faithful individuals worldwide express a common desire for peace. Bethlehem, the biblical city where Christians believe Jesus Christ was born more than 2,000 years ago, cancelled its annual Christmas celebrations due to the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. It's Christmas time, and let's take a look at how Christmas is being celebrated across the world. Peruvian police carried out a drug bust operation with the special help of Santa Claus in Huacal, near the capital Lima. Officers dressed as Santa broke down a door with sledgehammer and helped to detain suspects. 2 men were arrested for selling drugs. While palm trees and calm weather may not scream Christmas, Dubai is pulling out all the stops to celebrate the festive season. Al Seef, the 1.8-kilometer waterfront promenade, is emerging as the dazzling crown jewel. The historic waterfront district has transformed into a winter wonderland, pulsating with festive spirit under the cool Arabian sun. Thousands of people dressed as Santa Claus ran through central Madrid in a traditional charity race to raise money for the Red Cross. Many children dressed as elves in green robes also took part in the 5-kilometer race along Madrid's Paseo de la Castellana Avenue. Organizers say the Santa-themed race is the largest of its kind in the world. The annual Surfing Santa Day on Florida's Cocoa Beach saw hundreds of surfing Santas and elves take to the waves. The 15-year event, which began as simple family beach day, has grown into a beloved tradition for locals and visitors, blending Florida's sunshine and Christmas spirit. Participants enjoyed a live music, a costume contest, and watched the Santas ride the waves. Well, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, that is NORAD, activated its Santa Claus tracking system to facilitate people worldwide to be able to track Santa. NORAD tracks Santa's journey every year as he travels the globe in his sleigh. The military organization has a 68-year history of tracking Santa using satellite systems, high-powered radar, and fighter jets. Last year, it also answered over 73,000 queries on Santa Claus through its telephone line. Well, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Indian plane passengers held in France over suspected human trafficking could leave Monday. And world's biggest Santa Claus created with sand and onions. Where? We tell you ahead.
India's huge leaps towards becoming self-reliant in defense sector. Policy changes enabling increased involvement of private sector. From humanitarian assistance to rescue operations. Increased synergy among armed forces through joint military exercises. Watch Echoes 2023, India's defenders at these times only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will begin his 5-day Russia visit on Monday as a part of the ongoing high-level exchanges between the two sides. During this visit, EAM will meet Deputy Prime Minister and Industry and Trade Minister Denis Manturov to discuss matters related to economic engagement. EAM will meet his counterpart Sergei Lavrov for discussion on bilateral, multilateral and international issues, focusing on the strong people-to-people and cultural ties between our two countries. EAM's program will include engagements in Moscow and in St. Petersburg. The time-tested India-Russia partnership has remained stable and resilient and continues to be characterized by the spirit of this special and privileged strategic partnership. A Nicaragua-bound flight carrying 303 passengers, mostly Indians, was allowed to resume its journey after 3 days of grounding by the French authorities at an airport near Paris. French prosecutors on Sunday gave the go-ahead for the plane to leave after questioning the passengers for 2 days. The plane is expected to take off again on Monday morning. The hearings were conducted as part of the investigation opened by the Paris prosecutor's office. Good Governance Day is being observed on Monday to commemorate 99th birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Bharat Ratna Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Atal Bihari Vajpayee may not be physically present among us today, but his entire life is an example. Embracing his personality and thoughts in our lives can be a true tribute to him.
Atal Bihari Vajpayee, born on 25th of December 1924 in Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh, had a political journey that spanned over 4 decades. In 1984, BJP had secured only 2 seats in the Lok Sabha. But in 1999, a coalition government was formed in the country under him. He had such a wide acceptance that even the opposition admired him. He contested the elections for the first time in 1952 for the parliament and the last time in 2004. Apart from his parliamentary life, Vajpayee had been associated with the Jan Sangh since long in his political life. Later, from 1977 to 1980, he remained a founding member of the Janata Party. During that time, the Jan Sangh merged into the Janata Party. He also held the position of foreign minister in Morarji Desai's government. Initially, he was the opposition leader in the Lok Sabha and then took the oath as Prime Minister for the first time in 1996. In 1999, Vajpayee took the oath as the Prime Minister for the 3rd time. He demonstrated that amid coalition politics and fragmentation, the boundaries of democracy and ethics could be maintained. During his tenure, India was entering the 21st century and he provided the nation with a new goal and determination to improve infrastructure, roads, communication and security. Within his 13-month tenure, he made a courageous decision and conducted nuclear tests in Pokhran, making India a nuclear-powered nation. Apart from this, initiatives like Golden Quadrilateral for Infrastructure Development, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana and the start of a new telecom policy in the communications sector were all initiated under Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's leadership, from which the country is benefiting immensely today. In 2015, he was honoured with the Bharat Ratna. At that time, breaking all protocols, President Pranab Mukherjee himself went to the former Prime Minister's residence and honored him with the country's highest civilian honor. Atalji's attractive personality and distinctive eloquence will always adorn Indian democracy.
India's President Draupadi Murmu led the nation in paying tribute to Atal Bihari Vajpayee. She offered floral tributes at Sadaiv Atal Memorial here in Delhi. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and several other leaders also paid floral tribute. The tributes were also paid at the Parliament House to the former Prime Minister on his birth anniversary. India is also observing the 162nd birth anniversary of eminent freedom fighter Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman paid tribute to Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya at Central Hall in the Parliament on his birth anniversary. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, BJP National President JP Nadda and other leaders also paid floral tributes. Across India, a transformative movement is gaining momentum. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, the largest ever outreach initiative of Government of India, is bringing the promise of empowerment and a brighter future to the doorsteps of all Indians. Under the Viksit Bharat campaign, welfare schemes are being extended to the people by organizing camps at various places in Kanpur City district. The beneficiaries who have availed the benefits of schemes expressed their gratitude to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the change and progress brought about their lives with the benefits of the schemes. BJP's Uttar Pradesh State President Bhupendra Chaudhary reached North Indian city of Barabanki, where the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra program is being held. Speaking at the event, he said that Yatra is reaching among masses with the guarantees of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Kashi Tamil Sangamam's fifth group arrived in Varanasi on Monday under Phase 2. At the Varanasi station, a large number of farmers and artisans, including the mayor of the municipal corporation, welcomed them. This group, connected with farmers and artisans, was named Narmada. For the guests, a red carpet was rolled out at the station. Mayor Ashok Tiwari mentioned that this program was made possible under the inspiration of One India, Great India by Honorable Prime Minister, and it's a confluence of two ancient cultures of the world. The groups of farmers and artisans from Tamil Nadu also expressed gratitude to Prime Minister for the entire program and seemed quite pleased with the facilities and arrangements provided to them. Well, let's take a look at other stories making news today. A modern and grand railway station is being built in Indian pilgrim city of Ayodhya, depicting the glory of Treta Yuga. The design of the railway station is a confluence of modern solutions with a touch of aesthetics of the Indian temple architecture. Spread across 11,000 square meter area, the central dome of the station's building is inspired from Lord Ram's mukut or crown, while the other two parts of the building are inspired from Janaki temple. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the first phase of the Ayodhya Junction on December 30th. Large number of devotees are participating in mass prayers being offered at Immaculate Conception Church in Goa on the occasion. Also, markets in the Goan capital Panaji are decked up with Christmas trees and other decorative items. Meanwhile, world-renowned sand artist Doordarshan Patnaik unveiled a sand art sculpture at eastern India's Puri beach depicting a reclining Santa Claus. Patnaik has created the sand art with the message "Gift a plant, green the earth." The World Record Book of India has declared the sand art as the world's biggest onion and sand Santa Claus. India's Prime Minister extended warm wishes to everyone on Christmas. In a tweet, he said, "May this festive season bring joy, peace and prosperity to all. Let's celebrate the spirit of harmony and compassion that Christmas symbolizes and work towards a world where everyone is happy and healthy." We also recall the noble teachings of Lord Christ. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.